My name's Jeff Thompson. You'll learn a little bit more about why I'm here over the course of the next just under 3 hours. I think on the basis of the last 20 minutes, where you've all just naturally, either by knowing one another previously to arriving here, or meeting one another for the first time, have already achieved one of the most fundamental requirements of this workshop. You all know the power of networking. You all know the power of relationships. It's people, personalities and relationships that are the reason that things happen or they don't happen. So firstly, I'd like to thank you for attending today, because I know that time is always, now I've got a new term, being time blind. I'm too time paranoid, I think. My life is about deadlines, meeting those deadlines, because primarily we're about young people. By the way, this is interactive. As much energy as I get, I give. That's another all-important requirement in the work that we do. You do the most important work currently, to my mind, in this country. You engage, equip and empower our young people. In particular, young people who aren't supposed to have much hope and much opportunity. But this is a really special day, because this is the first legacy footprint of the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games. How many of you went to the Commonwealth Games, were associated with the Commonwealth Games, had anything to do with the Commonwealth Games? Again, this is a human interactive experience, so I just need to know what I'm working with.
Yeah,
endearing memory of the game? Hey, let's keep this real. I am literally, you have got Jeff Thompson at a fuel tank, you know, in your cars or your respective batteries, your phones, your laptops, whatever it is. See that tank that goes to fun red? I've just gone below that. But I came here to get rejuvenated. By the way, it's the other thing you're going to benefit from being here, without realizing why. Because you already, as I said, do the hardest job of many do the hardest job in looking after those who haven't got a clue of what their potential is. The Commonwealth Games were an extraordinary achievement. I was the deputy chair of Birmingham 2022. That in itself was an extraordinary achievement. But it only happened because of a massive negative in the world. How many of you remember or already have forgotten George Floyd?
Yeah.
I was only appointed because of the George Floyd murder. I received a call, and they convinced me for 2 hours that I should put my hat in the ring. Many people say, well, why wouldn't I have been appointed previously in 2017? But we all know the world isn't perfect. But out of every tragedy, there is an opportunity. Every negative is a positive. Everything that I'm going to share with you now reflects 3 decades of work. But at the same moment in time, I'll go back another 20 years and 2 decades of work, because this is one of the more special places that I will have conducted a social coach leadership workshop. Why? Because it's 50 years of an extraordinary club, a centre, and the heart and pulse of a community. Secondly, it's a combat sport. A little bit more about me is this is part of my combat sport family. It's where your mental, physical, emotional health and well-being. And it's not about sport, it's about life skills, life potential, intergenerational, but with young people at the very heart of everything that we do. The baton relay came here. That's when I first engaged in this project. I'd heard about it, but like everything, we hear a lot on the streets. I'm going to ask you a direct question. How many of you know directly or indirectly of a young life that's been lost on the streets of Wolverhampton or the West Midlands? I need your interaction, or else I won't know how much I can download or share with you. Okay, so we have a majority. If every single life is priceless, why are we still doing what we're doing? How have you not been convened together to become a new movement? The new 21st century youth worker. The most powerful volunteer legacy that I believe will have resulted from Birmingham 2022. 14,000 volunteers who all gave of their time selfishly, or else we could not have delivered those games. 72 countries and territories, representing 2.8 billion citizens of the world. Everyone sees the Wolverhampton Wrestling Club as just for the Sikh community. Well, we know that that is a perception, but it's not the truth. But when the baton came here, it provided an all-important point of recognition on the culture, but more importantly, the heritage, as this wrestling club marked 50 years. 1972. 40 years ago, in 1982, I won 2 gold medals, World Heavyweight Champion and World Team Champion, the Great Britain team that were to dominate world karate for over 30 years. At least 7 gold medals have come from Wolverhampton and the West Midlands. If we look at combat sports, by the way, the more equitably diverse and inclusive. Janice Argyle-Thompson, co-founder of the Youth Charter, won bronze in those championships and then won a gold medal some years later with my able support and help. But I believe combat sports, martial arts, are sporting, artistic and culturally enriching in the mental, physical and emotional health and well-being of young people in the wider community. If I'm making sense to you, by the way, if it doesn't make sense, interact, challenge, question and seek answers. Because a very good chance it'll be a long time before I pass this way again. Because I only intend to come here when the dream and vision of what's going to happen in that field is realised. So what you're contributing to today is truly special. It recognises, it acknowledges, but it doesn't have us in any way, shape or form not understanding the serious nature of what we're here to achieve. I was born in Wolverhampton. My father is buried in Bushbury Cemetery. I left at the age of 7. And I've been fighting from the streets I've come from ever since. I'm eternally grateful to the National Front. I'm eternally grateful to the All Boys School. I'm eternally grateful to the Post-War Rivalry. But I was brought up by a community. My mother's a single widow, worked every hour. How many could have a similar story? Stories change lives. So you're all here for a reason, because you all have a story. And if you can inspire that story into a young heart and mind, you can give them hope. But if you don't give them opportunity, we have failed them. So, everything that you're already doing is acknowledged because you've simply not been given an accredited leadership program that, by the way, is global. It's a global program, a global leadership program, inspired by names that you will hopefully remember and reflect in your unique journey. I will say this, the Social Coach Leadership Program is predominantly delivered by women. They are the most dependable and sustainable impact of communities. Gentlemen, for those of you who are here, if you're self-confessed mummy's boys, you stand a chance. I am a self-confessed mummy's boy. If you're not, either by test tube or artificial insemination, I feel sorry for you. But let's work this out. However, the male counterpart is critical to the alpha male species that can channel that primal aggression. I came here early because I wanted to see the very heart and soul of what this club's about. Parents watching their young channel their energies, get disciplined, a sense of focus and ambition, and dream. The social coach is simply that, life experience, dedicated to the hearts and minds of young people, and able to help them realise their potential. Irrespective of what they look like, where they come from, what they believe in, what they sound like, or their life choice. That's the schedule. Now that I'm time blind and no longer time pressured. The other thing you'll realise is you do things in real time. Everything you do has a value. Everything you do is quantified and qualified. However, when has your work ever been collectively brought together so that it can see you achieve what you do, have it recognised, evidenced, and help grow what you do? I'm just a guest, but I have a fellow warrior that I have something in common with. By the way, I still keep it real. I'm still training, and I'm still prepared to look any of them young people who look me in the face and say, have you got game? I can still dance with anything. Just I can't dance as long as I used to. So it means you need to get it done quick. And everything that moves at a pace has to have that intensity. The eyes are the mirror to the soul. Raj, are you going to welcome, or have you already welcomed, or do you know everybody here? But as you're the reason that I'm here, the youth charter and the workshop.
Yeah, I know everybody here.
That's
Yeah,
what you
just to
said.
say, well, thanks to everybody who's turned up today. For Jeff, with Janice, it's something special that we're building here through the youth chart yourself, Wolverhampton Wrestling Club. We're going to quite a high level. Jeff explains it a lot better than I do, but yeah, this is looking to the future. This is a very, very strong partnership that we're building.
Partnership and collaboration. People, personalities, and relationships. Even if you have a slight look at what you look like. Where you come from. What you do. Oh, by the way, if you're not going to enjoy this, the work we do is far too serious not to be able to take yourself not too serious. And you are in the company of the most serious, impatient individual you'll ever meet. Because as far as I'm concerned, if every life is priceless, why do lives continue to be disaffected and lost? And by the way, they say they come from our communities. Well, we're going to have to look out for our communities before they look out for us. And I say that to you with an absolute sincerity of approach. The world hasn't got time for us unless we've got time for ourselves. I said to you that I was one of the more dangerous individuals you're ever likely to meet. And when I was dominating the world, they told me I was British. I had no problem leading a British team. I had a problem leading an English team though. Because every time I talk about England, it evokes all the identities that I still don't feel part of. But there's no reason you can still not strive to be comfortable in your skin. We'll talk about that later. But I'm going to move at pace